Gosh, it disturbs me to see this Gaston, such a beautiful film, go to waste. My favorite movie has now been remade, and I'm going to share my distaste. Disney's new live-action Beauty and the Beast is based directly on their 1991 animated classic, which I'm always proud to tell anyone and everyone who asks is my all-time favorite film. Since the day, nearly 3 years ago, that the studio announced they were doing this new version, I felt a combination of excitement and dread, hoping they would get it right and fearing they wouldn't. I have to say, watching this movie was a unique experience, as I witnessed beloved characters, songs, and the overall story of Beauty get twisted and distorted, in most cases for no reason other than to be different. This version is an incredible 45 minutes longer than the original. I can understand maybe adding 10 to 15 minutes for new songs, which are actually quite good, and a few plot tweaks. But it's impossible not to take offense with director Bill Condon and the two screenwriters for drastically changing the structure of this story simply to put a new stamp on it. To paraphrase Mrs. Potts, there's something there that wasn't there before. Only it's a lot of somethings. It's not a stretch to say that this Beauty is a completely new film, only with familiar characters and the traditional songs. Disney's strategy of basing a live-action film on one of its own animated classics has worked, most recently with last year's The Jungle Book, which stuck much closer to the storyline of the source material. Mowgli, for example, doesn't time travel, as Belle and the Beast do here. You shouldn't base a movie on an original and then screw with it as drastically as they've done here. Without going into spoiler territory, let me just say, the personalities and motivations of several key characters, Maurice, Gaston, and LeFou, have been changed. Several key plot points? Changed. There are new backstories and subplots that either feel too modern, forced, or simply don't make a whole lot of sense. Even the climax of the film has been significantly altered. The best scene in this new Beauty, and really the only one that captures the spirit of the original, is the Gaston production number. Luke Evans as Gaston and Josh Gad as LeFou go all out during this high-energy and genuinely good-hearted sequence. It feels like the animated movie brought to life. The rest of this film falls way short in comparison, as Condon is never able to capture the charm, joy, and awe of the original, including in the very underwhelming Be Our Guest and ballroom sequences. Disney's 2015 live-action Cinderella featured a much more effective, breathtaking, and elegant ballroom scene. Okay, so in comparison, this new Beauty is an epic fail in the most literal sense, in that it took on an epic cinematic work, and it failed miserably. But how does this work as simply a standalone film? Well, sadly, not much better. Beauty and the Beast 2.0 is very dark and intense, which will make it tough for younger kids to embrace. Ewan McGregor as Lumiere and Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts give fine voice performances, but their CGI characters, along with most of the others, are borderline creepy looking and not at all friendly. And there's a mean-spiritedness in this movie that's unforgivable. There's more than one scene in which characters do things that are so out of character that the audience will gasp, and not in a good way. As for Emma Watson, she doesn't have the on-screen presence or voice for this hefty role of Belle. You feel like you're watching Belle's younger sister. It's the case of a casting that sounded great at the time, but in retrospect was a mistake. Many people are passionate when it comes to complaining about or nitpicking remakes or reinterpretations, from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Hairspray to The Karate Kid and Total Recall. But the 1991 Beauty and the Beast is universally accepted as being in a class by itself, and therefore shouldn't have been screwed with. What Disney has done here is make it impossible for those who loved that film to like this film. And for everyone else, this is passable entertainment, but with a ton of problems. On the official LCJ report card, Beauty and the Beast gets a C-. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. Go to lights-camera-jackson.com for the latest movie news and movie reviews, and follow me on Twitter at LCJ Reviews.